Hello, welcome to the 7th episode of Way to Go Website Reviews. This is the show where Chase and I look at random websites and we give some advice, some practical advice relating to copywriting, design, structure, and web development. If you have a website that you would like us to take a look at, you can leave a comment in the on the YouTube video. I've been rehearsing this, can you tell? This is my friend. I already said his name. This is my friend. His name is Chase Graham. He's a graphic designer.
Hello, everybody.
And my name is Joe. I own Way to Go Website. Can't even say the name of my place right. We build clear and simple websites for small businesses, nonprofits, and podcasts. Everything that we're going to talk about today has been covered in more detail on blog posts and resources that we link in the description of the video. And that includes an article about what you need on your homepage, what you need on your about page, and your contact page, all stuff we're going to talk about today. We are going to look at Crow, EdmondsCrow.com, which is a gift shop in Edmonds, Washington. All right, I made it, Chase. That was the intro. Did I do okay?
You did great.
Okay, thank you. I had that all written out, and it only took 10 takes for me not to feel like a...
Nah, it was like 6.
All right, and we're back. So we're going to try and focus particularly on things that we notice, some more of the egregious faux pas and errors of this website, not necessarily every little thing, but one that stands out to me immediately on this particular website is the header. The header we like to talk about a lot in this series, but the header is the most popular thing on your website. It's the thing everybody sees. It's the first thing everybody sees. And it's your opportunity to tell people what you do so that they can determine whether it is valuable for them to stay on your website and check it out. What you want to include on your header is a clear statement of what you offer, what the ideal outcome is after someone accepts your offer, or how will it make their life better is another way of saying that. And then a button, a call to action button that says, here's how you get what I'm offering. And you might notice that this particular header does none of those things. But this is a very common problem, and it's a problem that I've done. In fact, if you read the blog article, 7 things you should put on your website's homepage and why, in the description, one of my examples I give for the way that I used to write copy was I would say, welcome to Joe's website. It's like filler stuff. You have to come up with things to fill up your website so you have like a reason to design one or like anything on it at all. But it says nothing. Welcome to Crow does not tell me what Crow is. It appears to be a shop of some kind based off of the photo, but I don't know exactly what kind of shop. It looks kind of like there's a tote bag, so maybe it's like beach shopping or something like that. I can see the tote bag in the window. I know it's in Edmonds, but that's all I know. So in this case, it's in the business directory that we found this website under, it was listed as a gift shop. So say it's a gift shop, or say exactly what kind of things. Maybe they specialize in like clothes and jewelry or candles or something like that, you know. Say what you offer, say what your thing is. And then you can talk about what kind of experience someone can expect to get there. Is this like a tourist destination? Is this going to be like some fun place to stop when you're in town? Something memorable about the place? Do you offer something at like a lower cost, or something that says like here's the ideal outcome. Here's what you're going to benefit from by visiting us. So, and then of course a call to action, which the only call to action visible here is let's chat, which I find it hard to believe that a little local shop in the downtown of a quaint town, the main thing they want you to do is talk to them on a chat widget. Chase's video is covering it up, unfortunately, but there's a little let's chat button there behind Chase right now. No, that doesn't do it.
Ah, shoot.
That's fine. Okay. So, would you agree with everything I've just stated?
I would agree with everything that you said, Joe.
Thank you.
I think the image that's used in the front of the store, it it's not a very good angle. Maybe there's a better angle. I don't really know. I would assume that from the street, if you take a photo of the shop, and maybe it'd be more recognizable instead of just taking a photo like this, where I think there's probably a lot of shops that look like that. Just have a window with a sign above. I guess the crow is the most identifiable part of the image, but yeah, the image could be a little bit better. There's a bunch of big empty space above where, in the top left says Crow Shop Local, and then there's just an empty white space in the banner. The
Right.
text doesn't really describe anything. This header isn't very effective at getting anybody to do anything.
In the navigation, that is definitely something that stands out, is all of this empty space. Commonly, you'll see in a navigation that there'll be a logo in the top left, and then you'll put the links in on the same line somewhere along the top of the page. But for some reason, this navigation is separate and down, apart from the logo. You also notice that there's social media links in the very top of the page. It's generally considered to be a bit of a distraction. Like, that's not necessarily what you want people to do, is check out your social media. That they're on your site. Your site is supposed to help people get to your shop and convert to being a customer. You want them to do your main call to action, not necessarily check out your social media. One way of thinking of it is, it's at the top of the page, one of the first thing they see, they click it, and then they're immediately off your site. They just got to your site and now they're gone. And they may not come back. They may just get distracted, or maybe they start looking at their Instagram feed, and then they never really bother to come back and look.
And oftentimes the point of social media is to get people to go to your website.
Right. Yeah, no, that's something that's very common, and I've noticed some people put too much emphasis, I think, on what their website links to, when oftentimes, like Chase is saying, it's other things that come back to your site. Good example of this is blog. It's very rare that people go to your website and then find your blog. Typically how it works is that you write a blog that appeals to a certain keyword or something that people are searching for. They find the blog, and then they go from the blog to your website. Sometimes things like that are just given too much emphasis, when those are more so things that generate an audience and bring people to you, rather than things you want to send people to.
Unless for whatever reason you do business on social media, like somehow you're interacting with customers and sending direct messages through social media, maybe that would be important. But most likely you're not, and you should definitely take people to your website and keep people on your website instead.
I could see the case where you're a creative person, or somebody that just has a portfolio, and you want like to collaborate with somebody, or you're like an influencer or something along those lines. Or maybe you do like product placement or advertising on your social media, and you want to direct people to that, to like DM you or something like that. Maybe in that case. But in most cases, like in this case, you're a shop. Get people into your store. You can include social media links, but just not at the top. You want them to learn about you first, and you want to be able to give them a path to follow that is your desired path. Probably the thing you don't want most from them is them to like your Instagram. Probably the thing you want most is for them to come into the store.
Yeah.
All right. Then they immediately go to All About Us. Another classic website mistake. Tons of websites do this. And and as we've said a million times in previous videos, when you don't know how to put a website together, a lot of times you end up just emulating what other websites do. And this is so common that I think people automatically jump to, you say, "Welcome to Crow," and then you immediately talk about yourself. But the sad thing is, I'll speak on behalf of myself, and I say this with no ill will. Crow does not matter to me. I don't need to know about Crow. I just I just came to this website. I'd never heard of it before. I was just looking to shop. I just wanted a trinket to get my aunt for her birthday. It does not matter to me that you opened in beautiful downtown Edmonds on November 21st of 2019. It really does not matter to me. There's another, as I mentioned, there's another blog post that I wrote about how to write a good about page and what you need to focus on when you're writing your about page. Oftentimes, what about pages will, in this case, an about section, will focus immediately on your history, like where you started, how you got here, like, oh, our grandfather started this business 100 years ago, or these series of life events led to me getting my degree, and then I traveled to North Carolina, and then I came back to Edmonds, and this kind of this whole timeline of your life. That's not important. As I said, that does not matter to me as someone who's just stumbled onto this website. I don't know you. It's not very interesting. It has nothing to do with why I'm here. So what you want to focus on as much as possible is, why are you doing this? What is the point of you being here? What is the point of Crow existing? And most likely, it exists because whoever started the business saw that there was a need that they could fill. They saw that there was a lack of something, and that they had a unique skill set or experience dealing with that lack of a solution that drove them to create their own. That's going to give insight, as someone here, into what the point of this whole website is. That this is a credible person that understands where I'm coming from and now has developed a solution that's perfectly tailored for me. That being said, this is not the place to be talking about yourself. Second thing down, that's you can have that, but just move that to an about page. If people care, and many people won't, if people care to know about why you do what you do, they will click on the about page. But at this point, second position on your homepage, it is not relevant. You haven't even said what you did yet. Ideally you would. Up here you would say what you offer. But this doesn't, saying all about us does not matter. But as Chase pointed out, if you get past this, you actually find some content that would actually work on this homepage, I think. Like this section here, Chase. That could probably be broken out into its own section, right?
Yeah, that's some good value right there. We feature local art, handcrafted jewelry, unique gift items. Oh, that's value. I would walk into that shop for one of those few reasons, right? So that needs to be expressed in its own section as opposed to be included under All About Us. Because I think someone would see All About Us and be like, nah, I want to see what that's in the shop, and they'd skip this section entirely.
Right. I skipped it.
But if it was in its own dedicated section, maybe you had separate images of local art, handcrafted jewelry, unique gift items. You had 3 different images. Immediately, you're telling a story about all this stuff you can see in the shop, about the value you can get out of this shop.
You could do even some nice little icons for these. It'd be really easy to do. Yeah. Like art, do a paintbrush icon. Jewelry, do a little diamond icon. Gift items, do a little bow. It can be just a little section, just saying like, this is what you can find here, because nowhere else on the site does it say what's in this shop except for that one sentence that is apparently less important than the fact that you opened on November 21st, 2019. So this is also a great beginning of a problem, like we were talking about. What is the point of the shop? Why does it exist, and what is the benefit? Why does it matter that this place exists, and what is it going to help me with? That's typically what's covered in the problems section, which is detailed in the blog post. Clearly, their emphasis is on the fact that they're a small business and they support small shops and they shop local. So everything that you find in the store is not a mass-produced product. So talk about why it's important that people shop small and shop local and don't use mass-produced products. Why? How can Crow help people care more about their local community? And why is that important?
And put that in its own section.
Yeah. So that's typically what you would do is you would do the header section, which says what you do. And then you would talk about the problem section, which is dealing with the problem that you set out to solve and your understanding of it and why it's important. And then you would go to the value section, which you already basically have here. You just need to put some icons and maybe make this text a little bit bigger. And then if you have people that have visited the shop or are fans of the shop, then you can have people who leave a few reviews. Maybe you can pull it off your Google My Business page and put some reviews in there, and that would be a proof section. Again, all detailed in the blog post. How about these buttons? Get in touch. When you
If I
click
had short-term memory, that'd be great. You know, get in touch. Oh, get in touch.
Guess what this button does? This one, you click it, and then it opens up your email to send an email, but it doesn't tell you what the email address is. It is here, but if you missed that, then you click this, and then it opens up your email provider. If you're like me, I don't use my email application on my computer.
I don't either.
So that's worthless to me, and it doesn't tell me how to email them. Hopefully I see this. And then this get in touch button, besides the fact that it's obviously repeated of this one, when you click it, it doesn't do anything. So one of the things is you can see here that they now offer online shopping. One of your main call to actions should be order online and pick up in store. That's one of the other important things. Like I said, you say what you offer, you say the solution, you say the ideal scenario or how it makes the person's life better, and then you offer a call to action button that gives your site direction. It tells people where to go and what to do. Otherwise, you don't really know what you're supposed to do here. Okay, welcome. Do that. I guess I should call them, or maybe I should email them. Maybe they would prefer that I email them, or maybe I should look at their Facebook. Putting a big button, and ideally it's like a big button, a colorful button, something that makes it stand out. You would put that right here, and you would put that throughout your website that says, this is what you're supposed to do. We want you to come to the store. Get directions. Put a big button right there that says get directions. We were inspecting. What do you think of the sizing of this image, Chase?
It's a little small. The problem
Yeah.
is with the images that are smaller is that the content in the image also gets smaller. So if you have a lot of stuff in an image, you can't really interpret what's going on. So I think this is common with antique shops or a lot of stores where they sell a lot of products. They'll just take an image, they'll just take a photo of something that just has like so many products in it, it overwhelms you, and nothing seems really special. What I like in that photo is they have a little cup that says "Good Vibes Only." That's pretty funny. Maybe take a closer up photo of just that. But in terms of the size of that image, it could be bigger. It could take up a larger portion of the screen, especially as you can see more of the items in the store. Again, I think this should be taken closer up and not show so many items all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that image
this,
doesn't really add much to that section. It's too small.
Yeah. I was just looking at this whole side of the image. There's really nothing there that adds
Yeah,
much
it's just
information.
a blurry mess of stuff on tables. Not to say that the stuff on tables isn't valuable, but
And because the
you can't
image
really
is
see it.
and like you said, because the image is small, it makes it even harder to really understand what that is. You can't really make out much
Yeah.
in this photo. This site is built in Wix. I've actually never built a site in Wix, but Chase has, and
So
yeah.
can we scroll down a little bit just down the site, just looking at a few other sections before I start talking about it?
Yes.
There's a video there, there's another image, and there's another image to the left. So something that you notice across all the images on the site is they're all completely different sizes, which is a little bit disorienting to look at because there's no consistency and it just feels like stuff is just kind of placed wherever you want. And that's the nature of Wix. That's the problem specifically with Wix as opposed to the other what's called what you see is what you get website builders. So there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's WordPress. WordPress is probably the most advanced of all those. Um, but the problem specifically with Wix is they allow you to place content like kind of like a poster where you can kind of put content wherever you want all across the page. And unless you're, someone with a specialty in graphic design or you are very good at layout, that's a really powerful tool where you can place things wherever you want an image to make it, on all over your site to make it look really good. But the problem is if you don't have that background, you end up creating a site like this where there's assets that are all completely different sizes. There's buttons that are duplicated in some places more than others. There's not a consistent design scheme. There's
There's
inconsistent text.
there's no structure to it that helps.
There's no structure
Yeah.
because you're just being able to. Because the problem is the more freedom that you're given, the more accountability that you have for it, and the more understanding of how to use those tools is required. WordPress and Wix sort of suffer from the opposite problem in some respects, in that you're given a really tight layout that maybe doesn't look that great, and you're just sort of filling in pieces that by itself is already kind of a mess. But this, you're kind of asking to create a mess on your own by dragging and putting these images all over the place. Yeah, my experience with Wix, I designed a couple sites with Wix, and it was just unless you're a designer, it's really difficult to put things all over the page. And the biggest downside I would say with Wix is not only you design sites that don't look great, but they're not very responsive. So what responsive means in website design is as you decrease the size of the site all the way from a desktop size, like you're looking at on a standard computer screen, versus all the way down to a phone, the assets that are laid all across the page need to account for the screen getting smaller. So images need to stack on top of each other. They need to form different rows. They need to form different columns of content all being placed, on the same website. And so the problem is when you place things wherever you want on Wix, and then you create a smaller screen size like mobile, you end up having a very broken looking, crazy layout in mobile because you just place things all over the place without accounting for proper, understanding of website design. So Wix kind of gives you a bunch of tools, but doesn't really account for how broken your site will be because you don't really understand how website design is. So,
Well, one of the things that was so surprising is you kind of given this flexibility in some areas, too much flexibility almost,
yeah,
and then in other areas you're completely rigid in what you can do. So like you were telling me, you had some images in desktop.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, what happened with that? And like you ended up having to get like a
I had
custom
some
code.
images in desktop, and so at least at the time that I was working in Wix, this was the case. This may have changed. I know they had made updates to their editor, but you're always going to have issues like this regardless of what editor you're using. If you're not using a more custom solution for websites, more developer focused like Joe and I have. But the problem is that I was designing a site for desktop where I wanted to remove, you know, images that I didn't want to include on mobile. But the only way I could remove those assets that I didn't want to be shown on mobile because they didn't look very good in mobile because, they couldn't be shown as big as they would be on desktop. It's, for various reasons I didn't want them on mobile. I had to insert custom code through going to the Wix forums for this, Wix has their own coding language, so I had to ask for this custom code language just to remove things on my mobile site. And then when you're designing things in the mobile site, you're like crunched down to like a mobile view of like a tiny little thing on the screen, and you're like clicking and moving these little assets. It's just not very intuitive.
Something
And
as
it's just
something as simple as like I don't want this to show up on mobile shouldn't require
custom code.
from an engineer at Wix.
It might have
That-
been the other way around. It might have been that I only want to show things on mobile, but not show them on desktop, which is
Right.
the same. Which
Yeah, same
is
problem.
still inexcusable.
Well,
you know?
yeah. So you were talking about like you run into certain problems, no matter what editor you use. So just to emphasize, we don't use Wix, we don't use WordPress, as you might have seen in our previous videos. We also don't use Squarespace. We use Webflow, and something like that. I want this to show on this size of screen and not on this size. I think takes 5 seconds, to say like hide it here, but then when the screen's this big, show it, and it's as easy as just clicking a button. So many of those problems will keep cropping up, especially if you ever got to a point where, now you add another image that you want to show at a certain size, but then you probably have to change that custom code to incorporate that image as well.
Oh yeah,
It's just so,
it's a mess.
it just creates problems. Just that one problem is going to keep coming up over and over again for the rest of the time you have that site. And
And as websites get, sorry, Joe.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was like, as websites get more competitive, like as more and more people need a better looking, more effective website, as everything just moves to a more digital space, the demand for websites gets a lot higher. But the problem is that with these editors, you can't create that demand because people aren't that knowledgeable in website design. Like me talking and explaining all this stuff about responsive, I don't expect for a normal person to know what responsive means or setting up a site for to be responsive. And if you're designing a site in Wix, you're starting in desktop and moving all these things. You may never even click on mobile because you don't know this idea of responsive. You shouldn't be
Right.
expected to know. And then as soon as you go to mobile, which is the majority of the people that visit your site, they end up seeing a mobile version. It's a mess, and you can't move everything where you want it. You can't fix anything because you're stuck within this limited editor that just throws content all over the place.
Yep.
So that's the sort of the downside with this editors is that you're able to have access. It's wonderful that Squarespace and Wix and WordPress exist because they allow people to have websites without being, website developers. But the downside is everything outside of the fact that you only get a website. You don't get a good looking website. You don't
Right.
get a website that's very functional.
Most
Great,
likely,
you can make your own website, but that doesn't mean it's good.
there will be lots of compromises along the way. A lot of
It's
things.
so many compromises.
And then also, if you try and like stretch the bounds of what's capable on those platforms, a lot of times you end up spending hours, like 4 hours, 5 hours, trying just to do. Like Chase, you probably spent hours trying to
I
figure that
spent
out.
so many hours trying to figure it out.
And
And I have
something,
like more of a background in design. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
And well, if you just use another platform like the platform, the Way to Go website, use it 5 seconds. It's just it's pretty amazing. But as a testament to how weird Wix can be, this never happens on other websites. I've never really observed this happen on other websites. When you're in your web browser, you can simulate what things look like on mobile. For some reason, when you, I'll change the size of the screen to be the size of an iPhone. When you set it to this size, for some reason it loads as a desktop. So just like usually when you work with a website and you change the size of the screen, like I just did here, all the elements start to change to fit the size of that screen. But for some reason on Wix, now this is kind of nitpicky thing, and like many times in the real world, you won't go from a desktop screen to an iPhone screen or a smartphone screen all in one movement. But it's just a testament to how strange this is constructed because this doesn't happen on any other website. And you actually have to refresh the page to then see it the way that it would look in mobile. So, and then when I change back to desktop here, it's stuck in mobile. So it's like loading two different sites or something.
It's like loading two different versions of the sites, which helps explain probably why makes sites that are so bloated. Like they're not really efficient because I think they have to add all this custom code, like add all these training wheels so that somebody can end up building a site on their own. So they just end up just adding all this nonsense junk in the background that just ends up making your site not very fast, not very quick loading.
I feel like they were a benefit of, there was a time probably 2 or 3 years ago, you couldn't watch a YouTube video without seeing a Wix commercial, and they had good commercials. I think they were a benefit of that. Not necessarily that they
I think their marketing and the idea that you can just make a website and you can just put whatever you want wherever you want. It's an amazing concept that they were able to figure out, but it doesn't really create very good websites.
Agreed.
I know there's Wix developers, but that kind of defeats the purpose of using Wix because the point is that anybody can use it. But if you're hiring a Wix developer, then you might as well hire a developer in any, that actually outside of Wix,
Yep.
Sort of ironic.
One thing I'd like to just showcase here and how focused this website or how it comes across as being very self-centered. And I don't mean that in like a, personal way. I mean, just like, that's just kind of how it reads. Welcome to Crow, focusing on Crow. All about us. We opened here. All right, now get a gift card. You haven't explained what you offer. Why would I give you money at this point? You've only talked about yourself as far as I can tell. and now I'm going to get a gift card from you. So that's just a thing. You need to be aware of how you're talking to people. Would you say hi and then immediately going through the history of your life and then ask for money? That just, you wouldn't do that.
Like a door-to-door salesman like knocked on your door and was like, "Hey, I was born in 1987. I worked at McDonald's for 3 years of my life. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
What are you doing at my door?
Right.
Are you gonna offer me something?" And he's like, "I have cookies." I'm like, "Well, what's special about your cookies?
Yeah. If you're a salesman,
What are in the cookies? I have a nut allergy. Can you please tell me about your cookies? I'm hungry at least.
if you're
Give
if
me
you're
give me the value of why it's special."
if you're a salesman, you don't go, "My name's Jim. I started working here 5 years ago, and I started as a salesman, and it's been great. And I just really enjoy selling stuff." And then people go, "Well, what, and why? And why do I want it? Why is it good?" You have to think
Yeah.
in that kind of mindset. Is like you have to be more focused on others than yourself. It's not necessarily about like educating people about you. It's about telling people how you can help them. They want to know how you can help them. And then this is not a bad video. I think that this video should probably be in the header, although I don't know.
You have to scroll halfway down the page to even see that video.
It's a well-made
It's kind
video.
of sad. Put that in the video. Put that in the header. Put that all the way at the top.
This, I kind of like the personality of this. This is like actually
Yeah.
like kind of fun. I've never seen Friends, but I know people love Friends, and even as someone who hasn't seen Friends would be like, I'd like to sit on the same couch that Jennifer Aniston sat on, or whatever. Or I guess it's not the same couch, but I can pretend I'm Joey or something. I could say,
Yeah.
"How you doing?" and sit down on the couch.
That's right.
But this is like a call to action road. If this is your main thing that you want people to do, you want people to come. That's a fun way and a cool incentive to say, like, come
Yeah.
in and just look at our couch that looks exactly like the one on Friends. That's such a popular show. People would love to just do that, just to get like an Instagram photo and pretend that they're in the shower. Whatever.
It doesn't have to be strictly professional. I know we're talking about like what's your value and what's your purpose, what problem are you solving? It can be done in a really friendly, fun way. This is perfectly fine.
Yep. No, I really like this. Again, the image is quite small though.
Yeah, the image is really small. Put more people on the couch and maybe take some of the stuff off the couch so you can see more of the couch and make the image wider so it takes up, a larger portion of the screen.
Yeah, couches are a landscape piece of furniture, so I would probably take it.
They're not portrait.
Yeah, they're not a portrait. They don't lend themselves to portrait. Here's an image where they actually zoomed in and it's big and you can see it.
Yeah, that's a lot better of an image. You can see more of the stuff.
Yeah.
That's there.
But I would like to mention Contact Us, and again, it gets to the thing I was saying earlier about the Let's Chat button. Which, by the way, I'm going to break convention here, Chase, and I'm going to go into OBS. I'm going to move you. You're moving now.
Thank you.
Keep calm. Here's the Let's Chat button right here.
I hope I'm in a good place.
You're completely removed from the screen, but
oh shoot, no.
But there's
I'll be back, folks.
There's the Let's Chat button there. Yeah, now you're back.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm back.
But just like that Let's Chat button, I really find it hard to believe that that's what you want people to do when they go on your website. As a little shop at downtown, I think you want people to show up, or you want them to shop online. Like you said, now there's online shopping available. I think that should be your emphasis.
Yeah.
But I don't think you want people filling out a contact form, really. It's more of a personal engagement, I feel like, when you go to a small little shop like this, that it's more so you just show up because you live in the area, or you call them, or you have an email. Like, I think it's more personal, and also it doesn't really explain why should I use this form as opposed to anything else. I'm going to give you my phone and my email and my address. I don't, why? Why do you need my address? So typically what you want to do on what a contact section or a contact page is about questions. So this section is all about, like, clearly there's something lacking on your website that they want to know about, and the only thing that they can do is contact you. So put an emphasis on, if you have any questions, questions about what? Questions about our products, questions about our hours, questions about maybe some events that we put on, something like that. Go ahead and give us a call. Tell them what you want them to do. Do you want them to, in what case should they call you? In what case should they email you? Should they fill out a contact form? Maybe you don't need a contact form. Maybe you don't even check a contact form. Some people, I've worked on websites where the contact form wasn't even set up to send notifications to people when it was filled out. You know, some people just have this here without really a need for it. And I don't feel inclined to fill out that contact form. I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't really know why I'm filling it out. What's the benefit in me in filling out that contact form?
Or I don't know, maybe if, instead of it just being a question, maybe you could do something a little bit more valuable to the business. Like what if you were doing a giveaway, or what if it was for like people that wanted to feature their products in the store, or,
Right.
maybe it could be something
What would
that
you?
has to do more with your store instead of just a random contact form on somebody's
Well,
site.
you have an emphasis on helping local businesses. Maybe that's what you should gear this contact form as. Are you a local? What would you call that? Not a
A
distributor.
local artist.
Or a local artist or
local-
something. Yeah. Would you want?
Yeah.
Do you want to have something sold in our store? Fill out the contact form. Let us know about your product. Maybe send us a link to your website or to your social media so we can check out what you do. Give some instruction here, and inform people on why they should contact you and in what case. And then this is fine. This should probably be more so lumped in with this part where they give their hours and say coming to visit.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Then you can get directions by clicking that. Okay.
But the problem is with this site is it has so little direction and there's not
Right.
great organization. I mean, it sounds kind of mean to say, but she I'm assuming it's a woman. Might not even just
Yeah.
might as well not even have. I'm assuming it's the person sitting on the couch for some reason. I'm not sexist against people who own gift shop.
I think it's
But-
safe to assume that, but I guess we don't know. But yeah.
I don't know. I just assume that.
Oh,
But,
it's Jen. Jen at Edmonds
Jen,
Pro.
okay. Men can own gift shops too. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just I want to say I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I don't know. You got trapped in your sexist web of lies.
I know I got distracted in that terrible joke. I was gonna say that like with a site that's this disorganized, she might as well just not even have a website.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's really
this
just.
website isn't very effective, which is kind of sad to say, but
It has to have direction. It has to have purpose. It has to explain its value, and it doesn't. It does that
otherwise
right
you're just
here.
spending $200 a year on hosting.
It
I think
doesn't.
Wix is probably $250 with tax or something.
These two sentences are valuable and good, and this section right here is valuable and good. It doesn't necessarily mean it's designed well, and there's probably lots of things that you could do to this to make this better. But other than those two things, there's really nothing said here that really informs you of any kind of there's really no benefit to me here that I can tell. I don't know really what they sell unless I just happen to read this. Like if I was saying like, oh, I want to find a place where I can get a
Candle.
like
A good smelling candle.
a candle or something like that, and I went to this website, I would just have to go there and go like, yeah, it looks like a kind of place that would sell a candle maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. So it's just tell me what you do. Tell me how you can help me out. This does not do that. These look like candles.
Yeah, they do.
But there's probably a lot of stuff in your store that isn't in these photos that I have no idea. Do you sell like books? Maybe they sell books. I don't know.
You got earrings there? I guess the video has some more context.
Just say it. Local art, handcrafted jewelry, gift items. What kind of gift items? Maybe give a little description of what that is. Like when you say handcrafted jewelry, what kind of jewelry? So just say these things in big letters, and then underneath go into a little bit more detail about what exactly it is. Maybe just a sentence saying this is the kind of jewelry we have, or this is the kind of gift items we have. Clearly, I think this person has personality
Yeah.
just based off of this alone. Like,
Yeah, that's really funny.
yeah, it's a nice, personable thing to say, and shows a sense of humor. I think she can stand to express that a little bit more. I think. Okay, I think that's everything we wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
Okay. Well, I wasn't in the groove as much today, although you could probably say I've never been in the groove on any of these videos. But you know what? We put in our time, and we got to the end. If you stuck it through, congratulations, and leave us a comment saying what you like about these videos or don't like about these videos. I mean, we want to know how. We're kind of at a point where we're wondering how we should continue these videos. We want to continue them, but we just don't know exactly in what way we can add the most value and be the most benefit to people that are watching. So let your voice be known. Leave us a comment. Check out some of those resources. They go into more detail, and they're maybe a little bit better articulated than we are off the top of our heads. So you can check out some of the blog posts. Also, there's a PDF that gives an example of a homepage. Currently, it's called The Secret Blueprint to Your Website's Homepage, although that may be changing. But if you get it now and download it, it's a collector's item.
Limited time only.
Limited time only. All right, Chase, any parting words?
I just want you to know if you're a man or woman or whatever, however you identify yourself, you can own a gift shop.
That's so inspiring.
That's the thesis of this video, and
You know
what I
what?
want it to be.
You know what? I'm going to go open my own gift shop.
And I'm
Thank
going to
you.
shop there.
Thank you, Chase. I'm glad we did this. All right. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.